Hi, welcome to the Anointed to Dance TikTok page. My name is Trina, and the purpose of this page is to assist all liturgical dancers and praise dancers across the globe, no matter where you live, no matter which language you speak. Dance is universal. I'm here to assist you in bringing your ministry to another level in God and for God with scriptural references, words of wisdom, tips and recommendations from myself and the guests that I've had thus far. So please, if this is your first time viewing my video, I encourage you to go to my TikTok page and view other videos that are available to you, or you can go to the actual YouTube channel by clicking on the link at the top and going to the dance ministry YouTube channel and the links, and you can look at all the videos in its entirety as opposed to looking at them in parts as you would see on the TikTok page. Now, today we're going to talk about accountability of a dance leader. Again, accountability of a dance leader. Now, what is accountability? Well, there are two definitions that I was able to locate, and one of them says accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable or responsible. I'm going to repeat that for the people in the back. Um, Accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable or responsible. The second definition is taking ownership of what has happened. Taking ownership. That's something a lot of people don't like to do. Taking ownership of what has happened. All right. Now, there are people who think that they're exempt from being accountable, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. Now, what does accountability do? People who are accountable are viewed as reliable, trustworthy, and dependable. In addition to that, accountability demonstrates integrity, as I've spoken about last week on integrity, but talking about integrity, it demonstrates integrity, honesty, and the willingness to learn and improve. The willingness to learn and improve. A lot of people don't want to improve. They're willing to learn, but they don't want to improve in their actions or their behavior or whatever task that they're given. Okay? And just keep in mind that the lack of accountability reduces trust, and it definitely reduces respect for those people who don't like to be held accountable for a lot of things in their lives, whether on the job or in their relationships or in their family. A lot of people don't want to be held accountable. They feel that they can do whatever they want to do and get away with it without being held accountable. And that's not a good characteristic anyone should be possessing within their being. Now, who should be held accountable? Everybody who's given a task or responsibility for something, and everybody should be held accountable for the outcome, whatever the outcome may be. If there's a job, a task that's on your job that you're responsible for, and things don't go well, you're responsible for that outcome. So how are you going to handle it? Are you going to take accountability and say, well, if this wouldn't have happened, then this wouldn't have happened. Or if so and so, if my supervisor would have told me this, then this wouldn't have happened. Or if my coworker would have helped me on this, then this outcome would have happened. Well, what about you? Everybody, you point the finger to everybody else but you. And a lot of people do that, and it's sad. I hate to see that, but a lot of people do. They like to point the finger at everybody else, say, if you wouldn't have done this, you weren't there, if you were here, uh, I wouldn't have been able to do this, or I wouldn't have done this, or this wouldn't have happened. No, let me take that back. If you wouldn't have been here, if you would have done this, or this would have happened, this wouldn't have happened. It's not going to be me, because a person never likes to take ownership or accountability. It's not going. They're not going to never going to say, "I wouldn't have done this." They would. They would have said. They would normally say, "This wouldn't have happened if you weren't here, or if you were here, or if you wouldn't have done this. This wouldn't have happened." Knowing that that individual is the centerpiece, the foundation of the outcome, but not taking accountability is an immature way of being. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are like that. They don't like taking accountability for anything. All right. So, in general, parents make their children accountable. Not all of them. It's unfortunate. I see a lot of parents don't make their child accountable for their actions, their behavior, the things that they do, and they let them get away with it. And so, but majority of parents, they do make their child or children accountable for their actions or whatever task that they gave their child, whether washing dishes, cleaning up, and whatever the outcome may be. If it's clean, if it's not clean, hey, clean it up right. Go back and do it right, making them accountable. So parents make their children accountable. Employers make their employees accountable for any job responsibility that they're given, ability or abilities, responsibilities, whatever that they're given. The employers hold their employees accountable. Pastors hold their congregants accountable, especially the ministry leaders, hold them accountable for whatever's being asked of them. The people of the United States, us, we try to hold our president accountable, the president of the United States accountable. Unfortunately, the last president who's trying to become president again, for some reason, a majority of the millions of people in this United States are not making him accountable for his actions. Okay, that's another story, and I don't want to talk about him no more. So, and then teachers, and talk about the classroom. Teachers make their students accountable. They have homework to do, they make them accountable. They have class assignments to do, the teachers make the students accountable for what the tasks that they're given, the homework, the class assignment, the projects. The teachers hold their students accountable. So everybody pretty much is held accountable in every aspect of their lives, whether on the job, in the classroom, in a relationship. And if you're married or you're in a serious relationship and you're dating someone, and you ask your significant other to do something for you and they don't do it, and then when you address it and it's like, well, you didn't really tell me this, or you didn't give me enough money to do it, or you didn't guide me in this area. It's you again. There it goes, not taking accountability for what tasks that they were given. So so it's, again, that's an immature way of living. Pray that a lot of people who are not on the mature level of taking accountability and taking ownership of what a task that they were given or behavior that they were given, the behavior that they're displaying. I pray that they pretty much grow in that area and mature a little bit. Okay. And then even with behaviors, a lot of people use their relationships again. If one individual in a relationship reacts a certain way, they just ask for, they tell you, well, you know what you did made me feel a certain way. Well, if another person respond in a negative way, well, you didn't have to say that, and you didn't have to do that. Well, you want to say this, if you want to say that, I wouldn't have done this, and you wouldn't be feeling this way. That kind of thing. So it's just, the behavior can affect another person's feelings, and especially if you don't take accountability for causing that person to feel that a certain way, instead of saying, well, you know what, you're right, I was wrong. Okay, I made you feel that way because I did this. I apologize. How many people can do that? How many people say that? Not that many. Again, that's immaturity. Taking accountability, taking ownership. And when you do that, when you take ownership and say, I'm wrong, you're right, or I did this as an employee, and you know what? I did mess up. I messed up the project. Okay, I did mess up some numbers if for accountants. I did mess up the numbers that resulted in the overpayment of outcome or underpayment of outcome of the client. I take ownership. Okay, let me fix it. If anybody can just say that, people just say, okay, I take ownership. This happened because I did this, or this happened because I didn't do that. Then let me fix it. If everybody will do that and say that, let me fix it, let me figure out a way to fix it, you gain respect, you gain trust. And if you never used to do that, and if you start doing it, you will start gaining respect and trust by the people around you, especially your loved ones. All right. And in addition to parents holding their children accountable, teachers holding their students accountable, pastors holding their congregants, and especially ministry leaders accountable, the U.S. citizens holding the presidents accountable, President of the United States, God holds us accountable. He holds us accountable. Luke 12:48 says, have you ever heard the scripture? To whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. That's accountability. God is making us responsible, taking ownership of what we need or what he has given us gifts, given us jobs, bless us with jobs, bless us with children, bless us with a car, bless us with a house, bless us with a spouse, bless us with so many different things. You're given these things blessed by God, and how you handle it and how you manage it, as much is required. To whom much is given, if you're given a lot is required from you. To whom much is given, much is required. Again, God holds us responsible as well. So you want to hold other people responsible, just keep in mind, God holds you responsible as well. Now, in addition to all of these individuals and God holding us responsible, dancers, dance ministry leaders hold their dance members responsible or accountable for whatever is being asked of each dance ministry member within the ministry, whether buying our uniforms, whether paying dues, whether attending rehearsals, attending Bible studies, and whatever else the dance ministry leader asks of the dance members, that's holding them accountable. Okay, the dance ministry leader holding the dance members accountable. But who says that the dance ministry leader shouldn't be held accountable as well when it comes to the dance ministry? Who said that? Who said it? The dance ministry leader can not only hold the dance ministry members accountable for these particular things and not be held accountable themselves. So if a dance ministry leader is requesting the dance members to come to rehearsal at 7 o'clock, the dance ministry leader needs to be there before 7. Okay. Don't come in all late, 7:15, 7:20, while the dance ministry members are sitting there waiting for you to come to get started. Or probably the dance ministry members, some of the members will probably just take it upon themselves to start warming up until you arrive. The dance ministry lead coming late. How many people know that somebody's always late for something? You're late for work, you're late for church, you're late for choir rehearsal, you're late for a dance rehearsal, you're just late for everything, late for parties, late for gatherings, just late. And there's some dance ministry leaders who are like that. They're always late. I thank God. Being late is just my pet peeve. It's a major one. I hate being late. It makes my nerves bad. I like being somewhere on time. I like being somewhere really early. I prefer to be early than on time. And what was the saying that if you're 15 minutes, if something starts at 7 and you're there at 15 minutes, you're on time. But if you're there at 6:30 and it starts for 7, you're early. So I don't know who said that. Was it an Asian thing? I don't know. Let me stop. No, I ain't racist. So like dance ministry leaders, If the rehearsal starts at 7, get there for 6:30, no later than 6:45. I know things happen, but if you're habitually late, every rehearsal, every Tuesday, every Thursday, whatever day y'all rehearse on, you're habitually late, you need to work on that. You're not being held accountable. Nobody's telling you nothing. You're not being held accountable. You're not showing responsibility of being a ministry leader, a good, strong, solid, trustworthy ministry leader. Okay. And same thing with going to church service. If you tell your dancers to go for praise, to go to church, praise and worship starts at, let's say service starts at 10. And dancers are who are actually ministering for praise and worship. Service starts at 10. Dancers, I would say, maybe are being asked to be at church and be dressed for 9, no later than 9:15. I'm gonna say that 9:15. Be dressed and ready for praise and worship. Get yourself together and back, meditate, pray, or what have you, and you do all of those things. And the dancers who are going forth for praise and worship, they're there. And if the ministry leader, dance ministry leader is going forth as well, everybody's there with the dance ministry leader at 9:15. Dance ministry leader coming at 9:45. What? Really? So accountability. Why are you not coming on time? Being on time, dance ministry leader. Come on. Get it together, honey. Get it together. That was one of my sermonettes when I went to Albany, Georgia. Get it together. Get it together. So being on time for rehearsal, being on time for praise and worship, and if you're ministering for a piece, it's whether in the church or at a special event or another venue, and you tell your dancers, hey, we're ministering at this particular event outside the church. Please be the event starts at, let's say, 3 o'clock. It's an afternoon event. The event starts at 3. Let's be there for 2. Let's be there an hour early. And everybody's there later than 2:15, but the dance ministry leader comes at 2:45, 5 minutes before 3. Uh, that's not good. You're lacking trust and you're lacking respect. Because who nobody can really respect you. They can respect the fact that you're consistently late. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, okay, well, we know she's coming because she's always late. And that's not something you want to attach to your name. You always late. Come on, dance ministry leaders, let's get it together. Let's get it together as far as being held accountable. And as it relates to following protocol, that's part of responsibility and being accountable and taking ownership in the church as a dance ministry leader outside the dance ministry, but in the church as a whole. When your pastor asks all ministry leaders to come to Bible study, come to Sunday school, just come to church in general on a regular basis, plant a seed into the church building fund, whatever he or she is asking, and you're telling your dance ministry members, okay, the pastor's asking all of this, but I'm exempt. You're saying this in your head, but I'm exempt. I'm not doing all that. No, no, you got to take response. You're holding a position. You have a responsibility, you have a task, you have a duty and a responsibility as a ministry leader, as a leader in general, because you're leading other members under your leadership. And so they're looking up to you. They're looking at you and they're looking at your behavior. They're looking at your attitude. They're looking at your character. Okay, because all of this is part of your character, how you do things and how you handle things and how you manage things. Okay, managing money. You're asking everybody to pay dues for the ministry not the church, but the dance ministry. And you're not doing right by the money, okay? Or you're ordering things really late, ordering garments really late, and it's all the time, and it just makes you look bad. So get it together, okay? Okay, now back to the church. When the pastor asks you to plant a seed, go to morning prayer, whether it's on the phone or in person, a lot of churches do prayer, meditation by phone, or planting a seed, of tithing, or first fruit. I don't know if they're still doing that. I don't hear much about that first fruit anymore. Or whatever the pastor's asking from every leader in the ministry in particular, definitely every congregant, but definitely every ministry leader. And you don't do it but you're looking at your members under your leadership that they should be doing it too. They should be doing it. You should be doing it too. You should be doing. You are not exempt. You are not exempt. If you want to be exempt, just don't hold it. Just give up the position and let somebody else take charge and be in the position in whereby the ministry members in the dance ministry can see someone who's more reliable and more trustworthy, more reliable and more trustworthy because they take ownership. And when you're coming late, let me use this as an example. When you come in late to rehearsal, do you apologize? Some dance ministry leaders don't even apologize when they come late. They just all come late for not just rehearsal, or come late for with the ministering at an event. They don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. This happened, that happened." After a while, if especially if you're habitually late, you no longer have excuses. It's like, "Oh, child, they know how I am. They know I'm always late," and that's not a good thing. Again, try to hold yourself accountable. Accountability of a dance leader is so very important. It's so very important. How would you feel as a dance leader? How would you feel if your pastor always came to church late? You know, he's supposed to preach at service starts at 10, and he's normally up there, supposed to be up there preaching at, let's say, 10:45, 10:45, 11 o'clock at the latest. But he comes at 11:30 every day, every Sunday. How do you feel? Same thing with Bible study. Bible study is supposed to start at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. Okay, you're sitting there waiting for Bible study to start, but they prolonging praise and worship. They're doing all kinds of announcements because the pastor is not there yet. They doing an offering, probably did it twice. Because they're waiting on the pastor. They stalling and stalling and stalling. Okay, and then he finally shows up an hour later when Bible study started at 7. So it's the same thing. If you expect accountability from the leader, your pastor, to take ownership and be responsible and be on time, you should do the same thing. Dance ministry leader, you should do the same thing. Don't expect certain things from people when you don't do the exact same thing. Hello, amen, amen, amen. All right. And another thing, as far as fasting and praying, that's part of accountability. The pastor may ask the congregants to the church to do a corporate fast. You're not exempt. You're not exempt. And pray, and definitely pray. So as a dance ministry leader, definitely make sure you pray. You do all you need to do, and don't just request prayer, because a lot of dance ministry leaders, they just request prayer. "Oh, child, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me." Oh, there's a lot going on. I have my job, I have my children, and I have my the dance ministry. I have to order this, I have to order that. We going on on a retreat as a dance ministry, whatever, and you're asking for prayer, but you never pray. You don't pray for yourself. You don't pray for the dance ministry as a whole. You don't pray for each individual dance member in your church. And that's so very important. Not in your church, in your dance ministry. That's so very important because each individual member in the dance ministry is a being with their own issues, with their own um, burdens. Okay. And many of them need that special attention and need that individual prayer. They may not talk to you and tell you everything, but do keep them in mind. Because I know I had to take and see my every dancer in the ministry as an individual, because that's what they are and that's who they were. They were individuals with their own, each person had their own issue, their own life, their own cluster of events that's going on in their lives. So I may not know everything because they may not want to share because some of them may be too hurt or too burdened and they choose not to share. But you, as a dance ministry leader, you have to pray for each and every individual dancer that's in the ministry under your charge. Okay, because that's very important. And in addition to praying for the dance ministry and the dance ministry and members in the ministry, pray for the church on a regular basis, pray for your pastor, all ministry workers in the church, and pray for the church as a whole. That's part of accountability and taking ownership of your position that you own, that you have, that you're in, okay, as a dance ministry leader in the church. So accountability, you are not exempt, dance ministry leader. Yes, I'm gonna keep saying it. You are not exempt. You are not exempt because um of the position you have and you hold. And God said, to whom much is given, much is required. And trust me, when I say this, if you don't choose to grow in your ministry, in your area as an individual, as a leader, there's always somebody that God can remove you to take your place. Because just like he did Saul, King Saul, I talked about him before, and David, he was just a little lad. King Saul, he disappointed God. God fixed it whereby, okay, I have somebody else in store. I see a young man named David. He's going to take Saul's place. Okay, Saul's disappointed me. I'm ready to move him. And God anointed David as a young lad to replace King Saul. And David ended up becoming the king of Israel. So it's the same thing. If you don't do right, are you constantly disappointing God? Because God knows your heart too. You probably can deceive other people. You could probably try to deceive yourself, but you can't deceive God, especially the heart. And as the scripture says, relates to King David, God looks, people may look at the outward appearance. You can put on the facade. You can display your perfume, per se, as Bishop Martin said. What people see and what you display is what your perfume. Okay, that people, what is the perfume, but your true character is what you really smell like. Your true character can't be trusted. Your true character is not reliable because you're not holding yourself accountable for showing up on time, for doing what you're supposed to do. Okay. So to whom much is given, much is required. So just keep in mind, God might be, if you're not doing right, like King Saul, or you disappointing God like King Saul did, God probably have someone in the works, getting somebody anointed and prepared to take your place. If you don't want that to happen, you don't want that to happen. All right. So again, accountability of a dance leader. Now, to tie in with this for next week, the topic is passing the mantle. How many of you are ready to pass the mantle? Some of you are not. Some of you, some of you, as it relates to being held accountable as a dance ministry leader, you weren't ready for the mantle that you were handed. Okay, because you're showing yourself irresponsible. Okay, you're showing yourself irresponsible. And to those of you dance ministry leaders who are accountable, holding yourself accountable, you take ownership. If you're running late, you say, I'm sorry, and it's not a habitual tardiness for you. And it's just, again, things do happen, but you apologize. Make sure you apologize for being late. You apologize for whatever it may be. You didn't get a chance to attend Bible study for whatever reason, but you're normally there. People see you, your pastor see you, you're always there. You're in your place. You're supposed to always be in your place as a ministry leader. And that should just really should be part of your character. Even on your job, if you're given a responsibility or something to be responsible for, you should be reliable in every area of your life. People in your family should feel like they can rely on you. Oh, I could call on Trina, she could do this for me. On the job, oh, Trina handle that for me. I know I don't have to worry about her, you know. And so in the ministry, oh, the pastor called on Trina. Oh, I know she's good. She's good. She'll do this. She'll plant that $1,000 seed. She'll plant that $1,000 seed. You never know. You never know. The Lord bless it, and I give it. Okay. But yeah, so if you are one of those individuals who are normally in every aspect of your life, even with children, you have children, your children know they can rely on you. Okay, your husband or your significant other know that he or she knows that they can rely on you for whatever. It's like, oh, I Trina do it for me. I know she will. I'm in a bind. I know Trina do it for me. I just all I have to do is call her up. Hey, Trina, what's up? Can you do this for me? Yeah, I got you. I got you. If that's your character. That's your character. That's what you really smell like. That's not the perfume. That's not the perfume. Okay, so again, accountability of a dance leader. Please let this be part of your character. Always being on time, taking the task that's set before you or given to you, or even your behavior. Take ownership of your behavior. If you had a bad attitude and you offended someone or made them feel a certain way, just apologize. With all of this, you will get the respect and keep the respect, and people will trust you. People will trust you. Until next week, again, next week will be what? Passing the mantle. I forgot just that quick. Passing the mantle. We got to learn as ministry leaders, we got to learn how to prepare others to take over for when God moves us to another level in him and for him. As if he doesn't move us for move us because we ain't doing right, or we disappointed him. And he even anointed somebody on the other side of town, you know, to take our places. We don't want that to happen. No, we don't want to be that King Saul. We don't. We don't. Okay. All right. So until next week, I want you all to have a wonderful one. It's Mardi Gras time here in New Orleans. And so it's been really busy trying to get home. And I live in the area where everything is just, I'm pretty much blocked in. So I had a hard time getting home. And I'm sure it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that for the next couple of weeks. Mardi Gras is the 13th, February 13th. So yeah, it's carnival time here in the city. So until then, you have a wonderful one, and I'll see y'all next week. Have a blessed one.